Put your hand up if you have a really burning thing to say after that Q&A. Oh, that your arm is on fire. I can feel it. What did you make of tonight's discussion?
Very intellectual. It was wonderful to see such a wide, diverse set of opinions. I must take Kylie Tint to task, I think, but by not naming the individual who she took exception to, she's actually slurring all the other coalition members who potentially could have offended her. And so I actually think it's actually a place for her now to come out and name that individual in order to let everybody else off the hook.
Right. She says that she thinks this person is part of a broader culture, though, and so it's not actually about the individual. You don't see it that way?
I don't see it that way.
Why not?
Well, there's always been a horrible lot of chauvinism where men are sort of politically endowed, as it were, and the fact that a lot of that politics is dominated by men for a variety of reasons, that's sort of been going on for a long time. So perhaps someone lost their temper in the middle of debate, and we know that Parliament can be a bit...
a bear pit, I've heard.
Unfairly sort of, these people sort of encourage each other to be ferocious, and people do rely on results, and sometimes it's a question of getting those results at any cost. And so I agree with that. Sometimes then people can appear to be chauvinistic, insensitive, not at all gentlemanly, and perhaps deserving of a good kick. But at the end of the day, we need to change that. I think it has changed a lot. I think it will continue to change. But at the same time, people who are doing the right thing, people who are do respect women, who love their mothers and respect women accordingly. There are a lot of good husbands out there who do treat women well, and it's not fair when there's one rotten apple in the barrel that everybody gets disparaged. So that's my thought.
Okay. Thanks for that. I'm wondering, I'm looking for a hand. Oh, hands. Are these hands in response? Are we staying on theme? Yes? Okay, range of hands. I might go, just given it's an issue about women.
I think there's a larger culture that's fixed the expectation that women are expected to call out specifically when there's actually a lot of pressure. I can't imagine what it would be like for her to be faced to that person every single day, and the expectation on women to actually be fronting up to that behaviour, I think often overstates the expectation for people to treat others with respect. So, yeah, I think we should give her a bit of slack.
I guess just adding to that, I don't think the burden should be on the person who's on the receiving end of whatever the negative interaction was to, I guess, call the person out. There should be, have people rallying behind them, especially when we're talking about actually changing a culture that I think a lot of people would like to see change in. I don't think the burden shouldn't be on her to call out the individual for her to be taken seriously.
Do you think the culture looks like it's changing?
No.
Really? Not at all?
I probably don't know enough, but no, not really. It doesn't seem like it from the outset, not too much, not in Parliament.
The National NCAS survey says very slightly. There's slight improvement, but there's also multiple studies that show that it's going to be about 300 years before we actually reach equality. So I don't want to overstate that that's improved because it's not that great.
All right, see you in 300 years, right? Can't wait. 300 years, it's going to be amazing. We won't be here, but great. Someone's going to have a good time.
Yes, thank you. There was some discussion on the climate disasters that are happening, and there's a lot of discussion about how we treat those disasters, very little about the mitigation. And to my mind, well, you only have to look at the figures. Australia's emissions are not reducing. The target is getting further. We're putting renewables in, but our energy growth is outstripping that. We're not getting anywhere. So to say that they met targets is just nonsense. And we are not going to get anywhere until we incentivise all of our emissions reductions, not just the tip of the iceberg for just 30% of our emissions, which is all the safeguard mechanism will do.
Got another question over here, or comment.
I thought James's question was fantastic about the business's role in lobbying on social and political events in the country, and I guess sort of, well, I think it points to a much broader issue. I think you've sort of seen, in this case, businesses lobbying on social issues, but previously you've seen more impacting issues such as the lobbying against the rent resource tax, which actually went to a bunch of companies lobbying and campaigning against something that actually affected them financially and their personal outcome. And they ended up reversing legislation that had actually been voted on and at an election by the citizens of Australia. So you actually saw a reversal of legislation by the business community through pressure on our political outcome.
Should be a ban on companies lobbying?
No, I don't. But I think it's a really big debate that we need to have. And even here in the city of Sydney, you actually have a situation with the council elections. Businesses actually have a vote in council elections. And I think that's a really big thing. We need to look more broadly around business, its role and its voice in society.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Very good point. There was a question down here, and so I'm coming back, or a comment, or something that resembles talking. I mean, really, I'm assuming talking was about to happen. Are you still hungry to say something?
I was just going to respond to that gentleman. It may not be up to Kylie because she felt threatened. What about being up to the fellow members of that party, who would be mostly men, to name the person because they were present when it happened? So you put it on the fellow party members who love their mothers.
Well, Peter Dutton did say he'd had a conversation with this guy, right?
He didn't name him. This gentleman's asking for Kylie to name the man. Let the members of his party name the man.
Yeah, interesting point. Now, I've got to go back to you because you actually asked the question. Were you happy with the kind of conversation that came out of it?
Yes, well, I really liked Kylie's response. And I think in terms of coming to, like, should she name the person or not, I think her decision to not was really about making it about the broader issue of the culture in our parliament today. And it's not just one person. And if she did name that person, well, then it could easily be it was just one guy, you know, like the rest of them aren't like that. Well, that's not true. There's still so much change which needs to be realised in the culture of Australian Parliament. And I think she was making it about that.
Excellent. Now, I've got some very eager hands that way, and so I will go to them. I will go to you because you were a little bit of a star of the show, weren't you?
It wasn't intentional. But what I'd like to put on now is my hat as a psychologist who worked for nearly 40 years in sexual assault. To ask, and I'm not saying that Kylie was a victim of sexual assault, but to ask a victim to stand up and name her offender can be even more disempowering. And we need to be mindful of that we need to empower people to call out, for sure, inappropriate behaviours. But there is a culture in our parliament. I don't know about anybody else, I can't bear to watch Question Time. And we should be able to do that without cringing constantly that the amount of mindless, can I swear? Bullshit? Yep.
I think you have.
It's demeaning to us as a country. It invites disrespect to our politicians who should be our leaders. And we expect more from our school kids. Surely we can expect more from this. Thank you.
All right. We're coming to the end of the night, but you know how to put your hand up.
I'm coming back to Qantas.
Good.
So Qantas, to me, they said maybe they should give back the job seeker. Well, it's not just that. And it's about the unions, they're saying about the workers. It's the respect. You go and check in down at the Qantas and it says, please be respectful to our staff. Well, what about being respectful to your customers and the consumers? I'm sick and tired. My son and my granddaughter are still claiming back from May 22, 15 months ago. And all they've had back from Qantas is send us some more details. Every single time sending details back. On their website, they say they're going to deal with it in 9 weeks. That's an absolute load of rubbish. We have given them, the consumers have given them these huge profits, and for the share takers, well, now be nice and actually show some respect back to us. Pay up what is due.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a a meta comment about Q&A. I've sort of been coming here on and off probably over the last 10 years or so, maybe once or twice a year. You keep on emailing me, inviting me back, which is very nice. They say that politics is getting quite divisive, but what I sort of see, it used to be on Q&A, you'd kind of have two on one side, two on the other, and then one person kind of in the middle. That was sort of the vibe. I've been watching more recently, and it seems like mostly everyone kind of agrees with like a little bit of sort of.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
Oh, well, I came for a little bit of a fight, actually.
He's called for more division. Okay. And debate. All right, I'm going to take one more comment because we do have to. I mean, surely people are going, I know you want to go in twice, but I see this woman with her hand up and she deserves to talk.
Thank you very much. And look, I've come here as just as a citizen from WA. I work for Qantas. And I've come, and it's just by chance that I'm sitting next to Tuan and he asked the question. Look, I'm proud to work for Qantas, but I'm listening to you and I feel quite emotional. I'm going to take everything back. Every day we get TV cameras, we see what's in the media, and people like myself are working, and we're working very hard, and I'm very hopeful that you will have faith in us again one day.
Can I just say... and I feel like I'm reflecting... everyone here, I don't feel like anyone has a beef with Qantas workers who are working their butts off. No way. I think it's an issue with the way the company's being managed. But do you feel that disrespect as you hear this broader debate?
I wake up in the morning and get excited to work, and of course we see some really detractor feedback from our customer. But I can tell you what, we won't rest.
What's your job?
Customer strategy.
Okay, can you get that woman her money back?
But people at Qantas are very proud to work for the national carrier, and I think we're kind of not being represented well because it's not all bad. It's
Are you excited about Vanessa Hudson taking over?
She is intelligent, beautiful, and a real lady.
Okay.
And here's to our future.
All right. Good night, everyone. Have an excellent evening.